The real estate market. A lot of people are interested in that because right now, houses are ridiculously high.
Mm-hmm.
Interest rates are what, 6.88,
right.
probably 7.
Yep,
Yeah, 7%.
7%.
And they're saying that the feds might come down in the interest rates, but it's not what people expect.
Right.
You want to explain that a little bit?
Well, we'll recap on a lot of those, but on the interest rates, if people are looking to see a large reduction in interest rates, it's going to take a little bit of time for that to happen. To get down to 3%, like it was just a few years back, is going to be a 5 or 10 or 20 year process. Because if they were to reduce it way down again, the economy would just blow out. Our economy would just be running fast again. One thing about talking about interest rates, one of the things that did happen when the lower interest rates were a part of our home buying experience is it also allowed people that had excessive extra cash on hand, instead of going to the bank getting money, they couldn't get money for their CDs or whatever it may be, so they were actually using their money they would have had in the bank and only getting 0.5% in their CD or 1%. And they said, well, my money's not having any value. Let me go put this in the marketplace. Let me buy a home in Florida. And so we had a lot of cash coming into Florida because the banks weren't giving any money. Now the banks are doing 6-7% on CDs.
You can crack me up because isn't the bank supposed to be there to give you money?
Yeah, they will, as long as it benefits them.
It benefits them, but it hasn't been benefiting because anybody that's gone to the bank lately, you ask for a loan, they want your DNA and everything, but they give you nothing.
Yeah.
So to try to buy a house now is even more difficult getting money from the bank. But you're right. People were using their own money for a while.
Because the bank they weren't getting nothing for their money. So that's part of the challenge there. There's some more dynamics going on, but that's kind of, if you look back, that's what was going on 3-4 years ago. And so now we're dealing with our interest rate issues. And yeah, they're going to get softer and they're going to get better. But to recap back on some other issues, yeah, homes are more expensive. Talking to land developers, to acquire the land right now is a lot is $20,000 to $40,000 just to buy the dirt, clear off the beautiful trees, and make a place that's inhabitable for your property. But then it's another $20,000 or $30,000 per lot to put the paved roads in, engineering, put the power in, put the infrastructure in for power.
Well, the cost of all the lumber, everything has gone skyrocket.
Yep. So everything is to acquire just a lot, just to get a lot in place for a developer's about $40,000 for a small lot. So all those expenses, and then of course you were saying the supplies have skyrocketed due to a lot of the other issues that we're not in control of. So to build a home, to acquire the land, put a well, septic, permitting have all increased dramatically. So
what are they running about? $150 to $200 a square foot, or has it gone up from there?
No, I think we're kind of, they was bumping that $200 a square foot, but I think 170 is probably a real number.
200. Wow, 170?
Yeah.
God, that's gone up so much since we've. But I'll be honest with you. I had a house on the lake. Now, you pay for the lake.
Yeah.
But I went out and now got 5 acres, as you know, and the cost was less than living on the lake. Everything was less, but you got much more, and it's like being in God's country. But people out there today that live in the city, they're not going to be able to touch anything for under about $600,000, even if it's a small house. Am I right? Or there's no such thing as a $250,000 home anymore.
Well, if they're there, they're going to need some work, and I'd say the minimum, demographically in our area is $300,000 in a starter home. If you're in the city, those dynamics are probably going to be a little taller. But
when you say taller, what do you mean? Because I'm
more, more expensive. But our rural setting here in Lake and Sumter, Marion County, $300,000, $325,000 is kind of a starter home that's move-in ready. It's either new construction or a home that's been updated, remodeled. It doesn't need a lot of expenses that are required in the remodeling of a
well, that would be the smarter thing to do, is to go out someplace like this and buy something at a reasonable cost, because eventually it's going to go back up, but there's nothing like the beautiful country. There really isn't.
Yes, we've been blessed to be in a part of the county where there's the growth is not impacting us. We can get to the city in a reasonable amount of time, but still enjoy the rural settings of where we're located here in Lady Lake.
We're close to the villages. Now, we're not close enough. That's good. But if you need to go out, you need to go restaurants or whatever. I mean, everything's in arm's reach, but we live far enough where we can still have that peace. But going back, I was reading that what they're waiting for, the feds and everyone else, is for the inventory of houses to get a little bit larger. Because if the inventory doesn't get larger, then the cost of the homes will remain higher. But if they can get a higher inventory of people selling, then the costs will obviously come down with the interest rate.
Yeah, once inventories get to a higher percentage overall, the sellers will probably try to find an opportunity where they can be more competitive in their price point. So yeah, that is definitely an area that would help reduce the overall price of a home. Is eventually you got to get to a point where you want to sell your home, you may have to reduce your price.
Yeah, but so many people want to sell their homes, but to them their home is worth, it's priceless, and they kind of get a little over ambitious in wanting to sell it for an extremely high price, thinking the market still was,
Right.
as good as it was not too long ago, and you can get higher prices. But the reality is, you should get probably an appraisal done, and then really get the value of your home.
Well, you can do an appraisal. Most of us realtors, we do what's called a comparative market analysis. A comparative market analysis, short abbreviation of CMA. And what we do, we take and look in your demographic area, generally in your neighborhood, we look out a mile or 2 miles, whatever it may take to get there, and homes that are comparable to your home, square footage, accessories, pool accessories, added garages, and we can do a comparative market analysis to establish the value of your property. An appraisal is good, and their professional opinion is very well done, but they're going to use the same data collection as we're going to use.
So basically, what is the average sale of a home in your area would be comparable to the size and sale of your home if you're going to sell it, without you coming off, because some people come off with a price in their head. Well, I think I should have $600,000 for this house, or $700,000.
So everybody's expectations is generally a lot broader than what is generally the reality.
Yeah.
They've looked at some online Zestimates, and if you use a Zestimate, which is the Zillow's thing, is they use a cast net, and they throw that cast net out there. They're throwing your neighbor's house in there, the one behind you that has a three-car garage and a pool. You've got a 1,000 square foot house and a carport, and your Zestimate is not going to be accurate because the data collection by electronically is not accurate. So that's why we professionals will go in and look at what your subject property is and evaluate it to other subject properties to establish that correct.
Yeah, because somebody could say they have a garage, but it's actually a carport.
Yeah, and then the square footage issues of homes is a challenge, because someone thinks they've closed in their back porch and they've got an air conditioning unit back there. Sometimes it doesn't qualify for square footage. So those things that, whereas professionals been exposed to this industry long enough, we can help identify what these areas are.
People get real violent on you because you were trying to tell them that their home is worth less?
No, not really. The thing is, we're just sharing data with them, and they have to base the decision on data, because we can't adjust the information that's in front of us. It's just information.
Yeah.
So we're just working off information that's relevant to the property.